From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. As a New World screwworm moves closer to the U.S. border, what USDA is doing to stop the spread and prevent the pest from entering the U.S. A sweeping court ruling that blocks President Trump's tariffs.
What does it do to the administration's leverage on the deals that they said we were coming close to?
What it means for trade. A nightmare for farmers in the South.
These guys are hurting, and they're hurting bad. This isn't what we need.
Inundated with rains, farmers are facing a record amount of prevent plant. The emotional and financial toll this spring is causing on farmers there. Now for the news, a federal court earlier this week blocking President Trump's so-called Liberation Day tariffs. The ruling coming from a three-judge panel at the U.S. Court of International Trade. It said the sweeping tariffs and other global levies imposed under the International Emergency Economic Power Act were unlawful. That put a pause on some of Trump's tariffs, but the pause was short-lived. The Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit granted an emergency motion Thursday for the administration, arguing that a halt is critical for the country's national security. The original ruling by the U.S. Court of International Trade made President Trump's April 2nd reciprocal tariff order invalid, which included 30% tariffs on Chinese imports, 25% tariffs on select goods from Mexico and Canada, and a blanket 10% tariff on most imported goods. The Trump administration filed a notice of appeal. That appeal was then granted on Thursday. Well, money is on the way to ranchers impacted by drought or wildfires. USDA announcing emergency livestock relief program payments. The congressionally mandated payments are to cover grazing losses due to eligible drought or wildfire events from 2023 or 2024. The payments are automatically issued for producers who have an approved livestock forage disaster program application on file for those years. The agency will provide $1 billion total under this round of payments. The program is the first of two programs authorized to assist with eligible losses suffered by livestock producers. FSA will announce additional ELRP assistance for other losses, including flooding, later this summer. And more funding is also on the way to states to reimburse them for meat and poultry inspection programs. USDA says without the funding, states may not have the resources to continue their own inspection programs, which ensures producers are safe. But the agency points out this is not a suitable path forward. It says policymakers across the federal government need to come together to think through ways to continue critical state meat and poultry inspection programs. The funding will increase to $14.5 million in reimbursements. Cattle markets reacted strongly this week to what USDA says was a false report claiming New World screwworm had been found in the U.S. USDA says it's not true, and a spokesperson confirms no cases of NWS have been found. The Arrhenius report claimed it had been detected in Missouri. USDA says, however, should it detect NWS in the United States, it will rapidly respond in coordination with state partners to eliminate it. Currently, the southern border is closed to imports of live cattle, horses, and bison in order to prevent the spread of the parasite. This week, Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins announced USDA is investing $21 million to renovate an existing fruit fly production facility in Mexico. When operational, the facility will produce up to 100 million additional sterile NWS flies weekly to push the population further south in Mexico. At last report, USDA said it had been found in Mexico within 700 miles of the U.S. border. We're continuing to get in reaction to last week's report released from the Make America Healthy Again Commission. The report saying that processed food, chemicals, stress, and overprescription of medications and vaccines may be factors behind chronic illnesses in American children. The report is focused on what Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says is a national crisis of increasing rates of childhood obesity, diabetes, cancer, mental health disorders, allergies, and neurodevelopment conditions like autism. Kennedy said there was consensus among the commission's members to prioritize what he called the ultra-processed food crisis and to work to improve the food American children eat. The report also highlighted studies linking health disorders in humans and animals to the weed killers such as glyphosate and atrazine. The report also highlighted studies linking health disorders in humans and animals to the weed killers such as glyphosate and atrazine, but it did not call for specific regulatory changes or restrictions on pesticides used in farming, only saying the chemicals should be further researched.
I have to say we have the greatest farmers in the world, and we love our farmers, and we want to pay respect to our farmers, and we always will.
We have the most robust, the safest, the best agriculture system in the world. And in partnership with the amazing Secretary Kennedy and all of these incredible patriots sitting around this table, under the leadership of the extraordinary President Donald J. Trump, we will make America healthy again.
Many farm organizations say the 68-page document is filled with, quote, fear-based rather than science-based information about pesticides. CropLife America is concerned the report casts doubt on the integrity of EPA's federal review process for crop protection products. That's it for the news. Well, as we look at the first week of June, we're also looking at some heat. Drew Lerner joins us for weather next.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Pioneer. Next-level yields start with genetics proven to perform. Pioneer. Next-level yields start here.